I call the Honourable Member Reno Terakatini. Tēnā koe.
Mr. Speaker, tēnā koe. E aku rangatire roto I te whare, tēnā koutou. Ngati Whatua o Kaipara, nau mai, hara mai raro I te tuinui o te whare pāramate, takatū nei. Tēnā koutou, kia ora no tātou katoa. Mr. Speaker, I'm very pleased to be able to make a contribution at this first reading of the Ngati Whatua or Kaipara Claim Settlement Bill. On this Treaty Settlement Day, as has been announced through my whanaungatau. So, Ngati Whatua or Kaipara, as my tuakana Parekura has pointed out, is the name chosen by the hapu and whānau of the 5 marae of South Kaipara. Rewiti, Haranui, Kakanui, Arapārera and Puatahi. Now, the name isn't a traditional one, but has been used to save confusion with Ngati Whatua o Aorake, and then also, I understand there's Turunanga or Ngati Whatua to the north. So Ngati Whatua or Kaipara are right there in the middle. And I understand, looking at the notes, because I like to draw on history and whakapapa and those sorts of things, that there's a Ngati Hine connection to those marae as well. So on my Ngati Hine side, I have a little toenail sort of interest there, so kia ora for that. Oh, not a toenail. Okay, maybe a big YY. But, Ngati Whatua, I like to go through the historical background because, this is a very significant and important occasion. And Ngati Whatua, Mr. Speaker, Ngati Whatua signed the Treaty of Waitangi at Manukau on the 20th of March in 1840, beginning a long tradition of Ngati Whatua or Kaipara commitment to and support for the Crown. In 1844 and 45, the Crown gave up its right of preemption and allowed Māori to deal direct with the settlers for transactions on land. A large part of the Upper Waitemata was alienated at this time. Regulations that were put in place were not properly applied, and later investigations did not always protect Ngati Whatua or Kaipara's interests. In the end, the Crown retained what was a surplus of 24,000 acres. From 1848 to 1868, the Crown embarked on a land purchasing program in the South Kaipara from the Ngati Whatua, acquiring around 281,000 acres. While land agents stressed the low price offered per acre would be offset by the benefits of colonisation, the Crown failed to reserve lands for them, and the promise of roads, hospitals and schools were slow to arrive, and in some cases were never ever realised. From 1864, the Native Land Court began hearings in the South Kaipara, and as we know now, Mr. Speaker, the forerunner of our Māori Land Court was set up to fragment iwi and hapu by awarding individual title. The mana of the rangatira of the whānau and hapu was lost, and so the South Kaipara began to become alienated from Māori ownership. Mr. Speaker, once again the burden of the fighting of debts forced Ngati Whatua by 1880. They were fighting more debt, and they were no longer selling land as a strategic move to promote development, but it was used to repay debt as a much needed source of income. So that is the very sorry tale of the historical land transactions that took place, very much to the detriment of Ngati Whatua or Kaipara. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to just take some time, if I may, and acknowledge the part that Ngati Whatua Chief Paura Tū Haere has played in the history of this House. Paura Tū Haere, it was he and other chiefs of his hapu who first promoted the idea of representative Māori seats in this House of Parliament. After much debate, and I would say that would have been just Pākehā debate, it was decided that 4 seats would be offered for Māori representation. Now, Tū Haere was indignant at such an obvious act of bias and replied succinctly, "If there are 50 Pākehā, let there be 50 Māori." Mr. Speaker, it seems that Tū Haere was the most intelligent man in Auckland and Tāmaki Makaurau at that time. What a unique idea, equal representation. a 50-50 deal, just like the Treaty of Waitangi guaranteed them in 1840. It's a pity, sir, that the opportunity wasn't taken at that very early stage for Pākehā to take up Tūhaere's suggestion. Now today, Mr. Speaker, we have 7 Turu Māori, and I have the great honour of representing Te Tai Tonga there in the south. So that's an improvement of only 3 seats in less than 150 years of Māori political representation. I'm sure Tūhaere would be even less impressed. And I'm sure he definitely would not appreciate or even conceptualise what a list MP is. You see, Mr. Speaker, Tūhaere, like all of our rangatira of old, they were first past the post people. So, Mr. Speaker, I just want to give acknowledgement to that great Ngati Whatua chief and the foresight that he had and the fight that he took up all those years ago. And I'm very proud to be continuing as a member Pāremata for our Māori Turu, along with, tupunas from Tauhenare. I look on the other side of the house, I see Hekia and her tupuna Tame Parata, who was a representative down in the south, and my own tupuna as well. So hopefully we can get a few more in after some more electoral kōrero with the Māori options that are coming up next year. Mr. Speaker, the Ngati Whatua o Kaipara deed of settlement is the final settlement of all historical claims. As my colleagues have mentioned, there are what has turned out to be quite standard elements to every claim, but most importantly it's the acknowledgements of the historical background and the apologies from the Crown, and also, which also sets up the redress for the Crown's actions or omissions. And just turning to the settlement package for Ngati Whatua o Kaipara, I see that a large part of the settlement package is the redress in relation to Crown Forest licensed lands, and it's good to see that there will be significant redress in terms of the accumulated rentals for the Woodhill Crown Forest licensed lands that will be returning to Ngati Whatua when they exercise their rights there. And there's also the return of some other significant sites, some school sites and other properties. I want to also pick up, Mr. Speaker, on what Parekura mentioned, Mr. Horomea mentioned, in regard to the naming of the sites. And this is a unique element of the Ngati Whatua o Kaipara bill, Mr. Speaker, in that it allows for the naming of 9 sites by unnamed sites. So I think that's a new addition to the treaty settlements which are flowing through this House, and I really commend that. And it's important that Ngati Whatua stamps its mark on its mana whenua and its places of importance by being able to name those historic sites which are so important and have such a strong connection to them. Mr. Speaker, just to conclude, I'd like to acknowledge all those good people that have worked so long and hard over the years to bring this settlement up to this particular point where we have a first reading in the House, and in particular the key figures in the negotiations of Takutai Moana Wikiriwhi, or as I affectionately know him as Uncle Doc Wikiriwhi, Potoro Doc Wikiriwhi. I have fond memories of playing in the reo, following him around when he was doing duties there in Auckland City. Margaret Kāwharu and Rangimaria, or as we affectionately know her, Nader Glavish. So I mihi to all of those key figures, and also to the whānau who've travelled quite a distance to come here today. I see up there Tamitarangi, whanaunga up there, kia ora, and also my good friend Jason Fox, who now is steering the tari of Ngati Whatua o Kaipara. And so I mihi to all of the whānau who've come here today. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm looking forward to, with every speech I give, I'm laying all these platitudes on tow, and he is becoming Mr. Speaker, he's becoming very speaker-like in terms of his chairmanship of the Māori Affairs Select Committee. And I'm really looking forward to... it would look good. So I'm looking forward to travelling with the Select Committee and uffying this bill through the House I commend it, Mr Speaker. Kia ora no tātou.
I call the honourable member Eugenie Sage. Tēnā koe.